I know it's raining outside. We'll try that again. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Welcome, everyone, to the beautiful city of Miramar, where we are a very proud and diverse community here in the heart of Broward County and the center of South Florida. It is a pleasure to welcome our governor and our justice designate here to the city of Miramar. I would like to introduce my colleagues on the Miramar City Commission, our Vice Mayor Maxwell Chambers, who's here present, and our City Commissioner Alexandra Davis, who is here, and we also serve alongside with our colleagues Yvette Colburn and Winston Barnes, who serve nearly 150,000 residents here in Broward County. We are here because of the request of the governor to talk about the process of his latest appointment to the Florida Supreme Court. And one of our very own distinguished residents of South Florida, who has proven herself to be not only a rising star, but someone who we feel will serve with justice, with fairness, and represents not only her family, not only her heritage from the island of Jamaica, but every woman, every black person, every immigrant, and every Floridian. And we would ask that the process be fair in evaluating the governor's appointment. And as I close, I don't always see eye to eye with our dear governor on a lot of political issues. But as elected servants, we must come together when the moments are right on the best benefit of Floridians. And we know that our dear Judge Francis would represent all Floridians on the Supreme Court. And on that behalf and on that note, I would like to introduce our governor, Ron DeSantis, who I come to find is a big football fan. And we talked about football starting up in Broward and Miami-Dade County, and how the rest of the state must be happy that we haven't started playing football yet down here, because we know that the eventual state champion is going to come from Broward County or Miami-Dade County. So, but on that behalf, we'd like to bring forward Governor DeSantis.
Well, thank you, Mayor. And really, it's not just football. I speak from experience as a junior at Dunedin High School in baseball. We met our final game of my junior year at St. Thomas Aquinas. And so we probably would have won the state championship if we would have gotten through them. So great do it. And we were just with the mayor's old quarterback, Charlie Ward, who talked about how he used to throw passes to the mayor. So it's a small world. But I want to appreciate you hosting us. As many of you know, in May, I announced the selection of Judge Renita Francis to be a justice on the Florida Supreme Court. And she would represent the first ever Jamaican American to be selected for the highest court in the state of Florida. And I believe any state Supreme Court in the country. And yet, rather than celebrate this great achievement, we're now facing a politically motivated lawsuit attempting to prevent Judge Francis from assuming office in just the next 2 weeks. So today, we're here to stand together on behalf of Judge Francis, and we all look forward to her assuming office later this month. I think her appointment or selection, and when she eventually takes office, will be very inspirational for a lot of people. I mean, she was born and raised in Jamaica. There's folks here who probably were as well. Now, that's not that far from the state of Florida in terms of being in the Caribbean, but it might as well have been a galaxy away from being at the Florida Supreme Court. And so as she's growing up, as she's working hard, operating businesses, being a full-time student, she's raising a younger sibling, and she's always guided by her Christian values. Few would have predicted that she would be where she is today, but I think that's part of what makes America great and unique. And so there are some candidates that I have selected for various courts, including the Supreme Court, who were kind of born to be a judge. You know, maybe both their parents were lawyers, or maybe they were just somebody that you knew was going to probably end up going to law school and kind of going the traditional route. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of people who have done very well doing that. But I think Judge Francis represents something, you know, a little unique. They would not have picked, no one would have said when she was 16 or 20 in Jamaica, yeah, you're probably going to be on the Supreme Court when you're in your 40s. It just wouldn't have been something people would have probably even thought possible at the time. And yet, she is here as a naturalized citizen. She came to America as an adult, took up law as a vocation a little bit later in life than many of the other folks who decide to go into law directly out of college. And from that moment on, she's excelled in the legal profession as a staff attorney for probably our most important district court of appeals, the first DCA. She served as of counsel at a very prestigious Florida law firm, and of course, for many years has now been both a county and a circuit judge in Miami-Dade County. And so just doing that, I think, would be very inspirational. But then with a list of 9 very, very qualified and excellent candidates, was one of the 2 that I selected to fill the 2 vacancies that were in the Florida Supreme Court. And so what I saw in Judge Francis were qualities that I look for in any judge. I mean, obviously, fidelity to the Constitution, somebody that understands the proper role of the judge is to apply the law without fear or favor, but not to play politics. And you want someone that has the courage of their conviction. Sometimes when you apply the law properly, it ain't always popular, but that's what judges are called upon to do. And I think because of Judge Francis's immigrant story, and I think this is true for a lot of first-generation Americans who come here to seek a better life, that she has a deep appreciation for what the Constitution and the rule of law represents. And like some people that has families have been here for generations, she doesn't take it for granted. She knows how special it is here in the United States. And so when we looked at the selection, we had to figure out, we made the selection in May, but we knew that she would not take office until September. Based on the Constitution, you need to be 10 years in the bar. But I looked at that and said, you know, that means she's not going to be serving in May, June, July, or August. But she had just had a baby the prior month. And as somebody who, my wife, we had another child at the end of March, I'm very sensitive to that. And particularly when you have working mothers with newborns, how you need time to be able to be on maternity leave. So that was never a question for me. I thought it was great that they were able to welcome a new healthy baby boy into this world. We wanted her to have the time to do what she needed to be prepared to take the bench. And so it was not anything that I viewed as a negative at all. And sometimes you got to wait a little bit longer for good things to happen. And so that's what we did. So when we announced the selection, we made clear that this would happen the 3rd week of September, and everyone was fine with that. Well, in the meantime, there's now been litigation filed by a state representative from Central Florida trying to block Judge Francis from taking office. And look, I'm somebody that believes you stand for what you believe in, you do what you right. I'm not going to begrudge anyone for necessarily taking some of these actions. The problem I have in this case is this particular representative has been somebody that's been very vocal about wanting to have a black justice on the Florida Supreme Court. Well, guess what? The petition that she has filed right now would block a black justice, and then, if granted, potentially force me to pick from the remaining names, who are all very good, but guess what? None of them are going to be a black justice. So if that is your goal, then this lawsuit is totally undermining what you stated that you wanted to do. And so when I see a politician saying one thing and then doing another, to me, that's the hypocrisy that so many people are sick and tired of when it comes to people in office. And I think the reason why you're seeing that hypocritical stance is partisanship. And here's the thing. We have a divided country. Do we need everything to devolve into party and partisan differences? Can't we all just step back as Floridians and say, you know what? All those other candidates would have been good as well. I think they would have applied the law well. But we have a candidate here who, upon taking office, is going to serve as an inspiration to so many people all these little girls growing up in southern Florida right now who may have come, their families may have come from the Caribbean, just like Judge Francis did, they're going to know they could be on the Supreme Court someday. And so I think this lawsuit is so misguided. Quite frankly, it's an insult to the Jamaican American community and the broader Caribbean American community here in southern Florida. So she should be able to take office in 2 weeks. I think she will serve with honor, integrity, and distinction. And when you have an opportunity to see somebody who's had such an inspirational life story be able to ascend to these positions, I think that should make us all feel good as Americans to know that these dreams are still alive in the state of Florida. So we're standing with Judge Francis today, as I know many of her other friends and family and also colleagues. And as the mayor said, we have different parties up here. But I think we all recognize that this is a historic achievement, and it's something that we should all be very proud of. And with that, I want to bring up a friend of mine, the mayor of Broward County. I've worked with him more than we probably would have wanted to work because of the corona, but we've really enjoyed the relationship, and I really appreciate all the progress that Broward's made. So thank you for being here.
Thank you very much, Governor, and thank you on behalf of the 1,961,000 people in Broward County for your support of our efforts to beat this pandemic, COVID-19. Your office has always been accessible to us, very responsive to the needs of Broward County, and we work in a collaborative manner to beat this virus, and we're getting there. We're at the point now where we can look to possibly do some more opening so we can get the economy revived again. When your Chief of Staff, Shane Strom, called me yesterday and advised me that we would want to do something to support a friend, Judge Renita Francis, I thought it was a great idea for us to do it right here in the wonderful city of Miramar with such great diversity. And I got on the phone and started to make some phone calls down. Thanks to my friends here in Miramar, I called a very close friend, Commissioner Alexandra Davis, and we talked and we got the ball rolling. And I want to thank the city of Miramar for welcoming us this morning. And we reached out to a diversity of Broward County and South Florida, because this is what this is about. It's about inclusion. It's about something that's really a great strength of our community, our state, and our nation. When we have diversity represented in our government and in every facet of life, we're stronger for it. We're better for it, because it brings a different lived experience, different perspective that adds to make us even greater than we are as a community, as a state, and as a nation. Let me acknowledge some of the folks who stood with us and are supporting your efforts, Governor. We have in the audience with us Commissioner Barbara Sharif that served with me on the County Commission. We have Consul General Oliver Mayer, Jamaica's Consul General, here in the audience. We have Mr. Robert Vaughn, who's the President of the Broward County Bar Association, in the audience with us here this morning also, along with Mayor Hazel Rogers from Lauderdale Lakes, State Representative Dottie Joseph, and I try to say that in Creole and French, but doesn't always work so well. We have with us Mr. Doug Harrison, Assistant City Attorney for the City of Miami. We have Ms. Tricia Gay Cottrell, President of the Caribbean Bar Association. Behind me, we have Ms. Samantha Parchment, Attorney at Law, and President of the Jamaican American Bar Association with us. We also have with us Commissioner Denise Grant from the city of Lauderhill, where I served previously. We have with us also Ms. Marie Woodson, who recently won the primary nominee for the Democratic Party for State Representative with us. And so many others are here, and I'm sure I'll miss someone. but let me thank all of you for answering the call, for standing up, for supporting what is right, what is just, and what is really in the best interest of all Floridans, to ensure that we have the strength of our diversity on the bench. I've known Judge Francis for quite a while. In fact, I've known her husband even much longer, for about 35 years. Phil and I have been friends. Our children grew up together. So I know the character of this fine jurist. Judge Francis is very well qualified, minus the technicality that they want to use. And that technicality is a matter of days. Now, I saw something in CNN this week, I don't know if any of you saw it, about a very famous senator who got elected at 29, but he wasn't old enough to meet the 30-year threshold. But somehow he won because he turned 30 after his birthday. This is pretty much similar in that we have a few days separating the timeline. But let's talk about Judge Francis. She clerked with the Supreme Court, so she knows the court. She served as a county court judge in Miami-Dade County and was later promoted as a circuit court judge in Palm Beach. She's done an excellent job. She's very well qualified to take this position and to represent the people of Florida in an excellent manner. And with that, let me ask Justice Designate Renita Castro to come forward, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Governor. Thank you, Mayor Holness. I'm not sure how I can top either of you, but yeah, I'm going to give it a go. So, thank you all for being here. Thank you to everyone who's on the stage who came out and supported me today. This means so much to me. Words escape me. I can't express it enough. Now, this isn't how I imagined I would be addressing all of you today, but evermore the optimist, which I am, I want to use this opportunity to focus on what is good. And I want to express my gratitude. I'm grateful that I've had this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, that a black immigrant woman from a small island with no famed family name or wealth, no inherent powerful connections, could potentially rise to the highest state court in one of the most important states is a testament to just how great this country is. My background, as alluded to by the governor, is a working class one. Before my second career in the law, I was a small business owner, and I owned and operated 2 small businesses for a number of years. And I was doing that while raising a younger sibling, much younger sibling, essentially being the head of a household, and finishing school. And I finished at the top of my class. I immigrated to the United States, where I had to work and earn every dollar to self-fund my dream of becoming an attorney. No handouts, no hand-ups, just navigating through a system that was completely alien to me, to be standing before you in the position that I am today. I've said it before, and I want to reiterate that I am truly the epitome of the American dream. And throughout it all, I've wanted nothing more than to serve and to give back to this great state, to give back to this great country that has given me so much, and to be an inspiration to all people, but especially young women, working moms, and minorities, to know that nothing is impossible in this great republic. I am you, an everyday Joe that gets up every morning, provides for her family, and tries to make a difference. I'm grateful for the support of this governor who took a chance on me and who has entrusted me with this high honor. I'm grateful for my family, including a newborn who was born just in April. And to my friends and colleagues and mentors, some of whom are represented on the stage today and in the audience, God has blessed me richly and beyond measure with all of you. and his favor and grace upon my life is something I'm eternally grateful for. So thank you.
Thank you, Governor DeSantis, Judge Francis. I stand here singularly based on the character of the woman you just heard from. I knew Judge Francis before she ever applied to the court, but we sat down and spoke candidly, honestly, as she went through the process. And there's something to be said from a person who knows from whence they come, a person who hasn't forgotten their roots of how they made it to the point of where she is at this particular moment. And there's something to be said of having that ingredient in our judiciary and that ingredient on the Supreme Court of the state of Florida. It is a travesty, and there's nothing less than that, a travesty, if we allow the only candidate of color to be stricken and to have the state of Florida, which is one of the most diverse and rich states in this country, to have a court for the next 5-10 years with no person of color on it. That is embarrassing. It's unjust. It's not reflective of who we are or who we should desire to be. And for those reasons, I commend the governor. I commend the governor because it would have been really easy when the waters got a little tough and there was some opposition to say, you know what, I tried, but let's move on. But he doubled down, and he's standing by the candidate he selected, and I think that's a testament to him. It's a time when we're in this country, politics is at an all-time high, but some things should be higher and greater than politics. And I think one of those things should be our judiciary. It is the foundation of this country. It's the foundation of this state. And to believe that we can have justice to ring out of Tallahassee that doesn't have a reflection of the people we are in this state, I think is fooling ourselves. It's beyond a given case. It's the strength of a little girl looking up and saying, I can be her. I want our daughters of brown and minorities to be able to look up at some individuals and say, I can be that. She exemplifies that. She is that. Her story is the American story. It's the world's story of all of us wanting to come from where we were, to strive and work hard to get to where we want to be. And she's at that point. And I press upon all the decision makers to not allow politics to lose the significance of this moment. This is a moment where Florida we have a court now, and there are some good justices. There's some friends of mine on that court. But each of their deliberations on the cases will be enriched by having a perspective that's different than their own. It's good in our deliberations when we have someone to raise another point that they can talk about from the path that they walked in life and raise a different angle, raise a different sensitivity. And that's what we need. We need sensitivity in the room from all walks of life, white, black, male, female, and everything else we can put in that so we can be the best of what humanity has to offer. I ask all those that are in decision making, the question that has been raised now is, well, what's the prejudice from advancing what the petition has requested, which is in essence striking Judge Francis from consideration? And what's the prejudice of that? The prejudice of that is it would be a crime in the state of Florida to have a court at this time where we are all having an awakening of where we stand on race relationships. We all are having that. I'm in the process of having those conversations. And as we recognize we're better when we stand as one humanity, it could not be any more important to have that on the court of the state of Florida, the highest court of the state of Florida. That's the prejudice that we would experience if we allow this process to kick out the only person of color. And we'll look at that picture for the next 5-10 years and regret for what could have been. I hope that our better judgment steps forward and allow this process so that in September 25th or thereabouts, we will be celebrating what should be an honor as opposed to accepting the lesser of us as human beings. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Governor DeSantis, mayors, elected officials, and Judge Francis for being here today. It is truly an honor and a privilege to stand here today in full support of Judge Renita Francis. And I know, based on the wonderful people behind me, her support runs both deep and wide throughout our community. From day one, this governor understood that representation matters at all levels of government. Almost 2 years to the day, this governor made history when he chose me to be his running mate, making me the first female Hispanic lieutenant governor in the history of our great state. And so I know in his choosing Judge Renita Francis, he continues on that path of ensuring diversity by making her to serve as the first female Jamaican American to ever serve on our state Supreme Court. What a tremendous honor. Currently, as we know, there are no women serving on the Florida Supreme Court. Now more than ever, it is imperative, and you've heard that theme time and again from those that have spoken before me, it is imperative that strong women leaders like Judge Francis have a voice in Florida's future. We cannot miss this groundbreaking opportunity before us to put a talented and qualified professional woman on the Florida Supreme Court. There is nothing that this governor takes more seriously than appointing judges to serve in Florida's judiciary. I have seen him time and again deliberate and choose the best qualified individual, all with a keen eye on ensuring diversity in our court system throughout. And so I know when he selected Judge Francis, he not only selected her, and I think people before me have said it so well, for her unique talents, her intellect, her strength, her hard-working drive to really provide a future for her family, and really an inspiration for those that are coming after her. And so it is my honor to stand with so many elected officials, business leaders, community leaders, in ensuring that we keep Judge Francis and have her voice, not only for judicial integrity, but also for the inspiration that she's going to provide for our community and for women throughout the state for a very long time. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much. I was remiss in not acknowledging my friend, Mayor Doug McKay from Southwest Orange. Would you stand, Mayor Doug McKay? We certainly appreciate you being here. And I'm calling on Representative Thompson to withdraw her lawsuit opposing Judge Francis' nomination. And I hope all of you would join in reaching out to Representative Thompson and asking that she withdraw her lawsuit now. Because at this point in time, I believe it's foolhardy for her to continue recognizing that there would be no person of color, no black person on this Supreme Court Supreme Court in the state of Florida. And it would be wrong for us to be in that place. I think she ought to withdraw her petition to the court and ensure that Judge Francis is selected. And I know State Rep Dottie Joseph, Governor, if we could give her 1 minute to, because she's a state rep and an attorney, quickly.
Thank you. On behalf of the Florida Legislative Black Caucus, which has voted to support the appointment of Judge Renita Francis, I am here to reaffirm that support. Even with a system that is dominated by Republicans, from the governor to both chambers of our bicameral legislature, it is possible to do good and accomplish some awesome things. If you're a minority, you often have to work harder at it, especially if you're a woman, black, and an immigrant. That is the case whether you're a Democrat or Republican. For some, to get ahead in that system, they choose to sell out. For others, they maintain their values and choose to work harder. Without intentionally disparaging Justice Clarence Thomas, I will just attempt to make a distinction between Judge Francis and Judge Thomas and what he has come to represent. Because right now I want to speak plainly to the people, because I hear the objections, and us in the legal field, we know what they are. So let's address the elephants in the room. When someone refers to Clarence Thomas, rightly or wrongly, we are talking about someone who exemplifies the expression that all skin folk ain't kinfolk. Someone who benefits from affirmative action, yet when placed in a position to protect race based on civil rights, they seem to be entirely inimical to protecting jurisprudence that advances at least at least not take civil rights backwards. When interviewing the prospective justice, my colleagues and I on the Florida Legislative Black Caucus determined that she is not a Clarence Thomas. And this is not to disparage him, but this is to address that issue directly head on. While she may be conservative and a member of the Federalist Society, none of those things in and of themselves disqualify Judge Francis from deserving our support or stamp of approval. When I see Judge Francis, as you heard yourself, you see a black woman, a devoted wife and mother, who may not fit in the traditional path of being a justice on the Supreme Court, but who is nevertheless connected to her community and has not chosen not to turn her back on us. And I will end with these 2 points. Unlike Judge Francis, Justice Pierre-Louis was just recently sworn in New Jersey as the first black woman justice. It would be wonderful to be able to celebrate that in 2 weeks. What we're talking about is a mere days. 2 weeks from today, she will be qualified. So right now, I want to speak directly to my colleague, as one black woman to another who operates in the same political system dominated by various interests. I want to take a moment to speak to Representative Thompson. Black woman to black woman, I stand here in the gap interceding on behalf of another black woman, and I ask for mercy. Given the current setup of the court's position, we risk losing the chance to have a black justice on the Supreme Court. Please drop this lawsuit and instead direct our energies on bringing forth real reform on things that we can agree on, like criminal justice reform in light of the Black Lives Matter movement. Why would we not have a black justice on the court? So in closing, Representative Thompson, I'm asking for mercy for Judge Francis. Just mercy. Thank you.